yeah, is there a God? And the way the Buddha addressed this question was by not touching it, was by leaving it alone. But that's not been my relationship with this question. For me, this question of, is there a God, has been this open-hearted, direct experience. And it's something that we can all play with. We can all deeply investigate this question for ourselves. We can see, who is it that made the I? Who is it that makes your consciousness alive? What is that? What is it that brings forth this love in your heart? What is it that brings forth love in the world? So instead of asking this question, I think most people, when they think of God, is there a God, it has to do with, is there an all-loving, perfect God, like has been taught to us in Sunday school. But that kind of math doesn't really work out in an evolutionary world. Oftentimes we have this thought that if there is a God, then there shouldn't be pain. If God is all-loving, there should not be pain. And I know I spoke about this last week, but God created an evolutionary world, and we are part of the evolutionary energy. We are part of the evolutionary life. And so that's why there is struggle and pain and suffering. But this question of, is there a God? That's not a question for your mind. It's a question for your heart. It's a question for you to ask. Not for some philosophical answer or some understanding. The only way you will know is if you open your heart. As we sit here today, we feel this incredible transmission of love, this transmission of peace. We may feel awake and alive, this vibrant sense of beauty right here in our hearts. What is that? That's God. See, now you may pray to God and ask God for this particular thing. You may say, God, dear Lord, will you give me this and make me feel better? And that's a very human way, I don't mean to be blunt or offend you, but that's an egotistical way of relating with God. God, will you provide this for me? God is here eternally waiting to shower us with grace, eternally waiting to shower us with her love, with her beauty, with her strength. She's eternally waiting for us to open our hearts and say, yes, please, fill me with your strength. Show me the truth of who I am, of who you are, of what this world is. And so the invitation here is to relate to God, you must have an open heart. You must open your heart fully and bow before her. That's why in Christianity, there's so many images of people praying. And we're missing the point when we think, what are they praying for? When they're praying, they are down on their knees. It's an act of ultimate humility. In the world of yoga, there's this word, Om Namo. Namo is, I bow before thee. I bow before thee. If we want to know God, if we want to know Christ, if we want to know Shiva or Kali or whoever it is that's your God, we must bow. We must open our hearts. We must be humble. We must fall on our knees and surrender before. that which is higher. And see, is it true? Is it true that God is eternally waiting, eternally wanting, eternally desiring to fill us with her grace, with her love? Is it true she wants to support us? The only way you will know, the one way, is through humility. It's through being humble. And this is the same way that we discover truth. It's the same way we discover our heart. It's the same way we become spiritually awake. It's through becoming humble. It's through bowing again and again and again. Through surrendering our mind, through surrendering our agenda, through surrendering our thoughts about what we think God is, how we think God should be, or how we think our partner should be, or our child, or our parents, or whatever it is. If we want to know the truth, we must surrender. We must fall down and open our hearts and say, "Dear Lord, you show me the way." And it's funny because oftentimes when working with a student, I notice they will fall down, they will become humble, and then they'll look to their mind for an answer. They'll look for this voice. They'll look in that place of despair. "God, you show me here." And God's saying, "No, that's not where I show you. I show you in your heart, not in your mind, not in your emotional nature. I show you myself, yourself, in your heart." That's the home of God. It's like walking into this temple. You're walking into your heart. That's how we know God. So yes, thank you. Beautiful question. Thank you.